All right, so welcome back. So Instagram tried to do a thing, but yeah, we are back. So I remember that I was sharing and I was discussing the three major, scientific factors that contribute to your body size and how you look. And I remember that I was talking about the genetics, your diet, your lifestyle, and metabolism. So very quickly, I want to share like five, six major tips that I want us to, use to restructure our mindset when it comes to self-perception, your mental health, and your body size, right? So the first thing I want to say is you need to accept yourself, right? A lot of us have been conditioned to, wait for external compliments and comments before we can, begin to love ourselves. But it doesn't work that way, right? Because you might step out of your room or step out of your house in a time where everybody's just busy and burdened and they have a lot of things on their mind, right? You might step out at that time and you don't get nice compliments. So are you going to say that you don't look good or you don't look nice enough, right? So these are things we need to begin to consider even as we're looking at your self-perception, how you define yourself and your body size. So the first thing is you need to accept yourself. You need to understand that you're beautiful enough for the job, right? So external comments are great, they are necessary sometimes, but you need to be established in your own self-love. You need to understand and believe that the way you look is accepted by you, right? You need to develop this self-love with how you look, develop this self-love with how your body is, because everything God has created is wonderful, and you must also believe that you are wonderful in your own stature, right? So that's the first thing. You need to accept yourself. Accepting yourself is trusting the process. Accepting yourself is saying, all right, this is how I look, although I want a modification, but I still accept myself. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be confident in myself. I'm going to be confident in the way I look right now. And that's what is really, 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 really important. Now, the second thing I want to say is you need to choose um right? You need to choose healthy habits over sudden results. I'm going to say that again. Choose healthy habits over sudden results. Because a lot of time, because of the goal people have, or because of a particular way people want to look, they begin to sign up into, routines that will not help their body. Because the truth is, as much as you're trying to, modify, look presentable, you must also understand that you're putting your body through a process, right? And if you put your body through a sudden process, it's not going to give you a lasting result, right? And even science has, established it that if you want to master something, you must at least stay on that habit for 21 days. So this one that people want to, you want to get a flat tummy, you want to look sweet 16, you want to have figure 8, and you're trying to achieve that in 2 weeks, can be very complicated for your health, right? You might not see the symptoms immediately, but the thing is, you need to begin to look into healthy habits that will help you stay, and live a healthy lifestyle, rather than looking for, quick steps or quick ways to try to really reduce fast or gain weight suddenly, right? So it's very, very important. Your body should be able to enjoy the process. You must let your body enjoy what your body wants to become, right? It's a process. So if you can cultivate healthy habits of, not eating after 8 o'clock, taking enough water, exercising your body, eating well, eating vegetables, taking adequate and balanced diet, you begin to see your body, gradually get into the shape you want it to be. But if you're looking for pills, oil, on a lighter mood, when one of my friends saw this flyer, the thing he said was it said it's a very, very important topic for this period because it's linked to I don't want to mention the name. ladies getting oil, getting some pills just to, try to achieve this figure eight in code now, or a very nice stature to impress somebody else, right? So you have to understand that you are to let your body go through the process without any complications. Is there anything wrong with losing weight? No. Is there anything wrong with trying to add weight? No. Thank you, Tayo. You need to understand that it's a process and not something sudden. If you do it suddenly, you're going to get the results you want, but it's not going to, be a lasting one, right? So it's not going to be a lasting result, right? So you must enjoy the process, choose habits, drink enough water, do things that would support the new stature you want to get into, rather than going on crash diets, and you now see people fainting suddenly, people are having issues with their blood pressure, which can actually lead to serious complications. So you need to change that mindset. Fine, you want to look good, you want to look presentable, but do it the right way, right? Do it the way in which your body can get used to, and the way in which your body will appreciate. Now, to the third point, and this point is really, really important to me, because I'm not just coming here to share tips on how to work on your self-perception or mental health because I just want to come and share theory. I'm sharing this because I have been there, right? So during COVID break, we all added weight, right? Or let me just say majority of us added weight. And for me, because I have tendency of getting a little more fatter easily, right? Or something like that. So so during COVID break, you could be in your kitchen attending lectures and eating. You could be in your kitchen cooking and you're having your lectures, right? It was a relaxed environment. You were not waking up to walk to class for lectures. You were not waking up to walk around to say, oh, you want to get to digital center, you want to print your project. It was just you in your house chilling, growing, taking your lectures and all. So it was a lot for me. And for me, it wasn't as if I was eating too much, right? I was just enjoying myself, right? I was just relaxed, right? So because when you're in a relaxed state, there's an hormone that is being secreted that helps your body process to just glow, you begin to glow. And so for some people, they don't even have to eat, you just need to relax, and you see them really had weight, right? So it was a whole lot. So towards the middle of the long break, so people will come in and they will say, wow, damn Lola, you're getting fatter. And comments like, are you the one eating all the food in the house? Right? It was funny, but at the same time it was not funny, because it got to an extent where it was so embarrassing for me, right? So it was really getting to me. I had to deal with the psychological stress, like I'm still fine now, right? So I had to deal with that psychological stress, like it's not as bad as you guys think. And for me, when I had weight, it's always so obvious, so my tummy gets like bloated somewhat. Then my hands, it's very easy to know, my hands get bigger than my neck, fuller. There's something like that. So it's very easy for you to know that, oh, she's added weight and all sorts. So the comments were really getting to me. And I remember that there was one particular night, like I was so down, and one thing about me is I really don't come out, right? So I prefer to stay indoors. So someone that likes to stay indoors now getting those comments, right? So it was like just pushing me inside. I didn't want to come out, so I'll finish cooking, doing my own chores, and I would get inside. It was so bad that when we have visitors around, I didn't want to see anybody, because I felt like because I felt like people are going to give negative comments, about how we look, right? So it was a big deal for me. So I remember that night I was just crying. I was just remembering everything they had said to me. I think I got a compliment that night that was really bad, and I was really crying. I was like, oh, really? So is this really how I look? And it just, something just dropped in my spirit, that why don't you thank God for those parts of your body that you do not like, right? So I got on my knees and I was like, Father, thank you for my tummy, though it's a little bit big, but I'm grateful. Lord, thank you for my arms, thank you for my neck, thank you for my face. And as I began to do that, it was as if a burden was lifted off me. I began to now see myself in the light of I am wonderfully and fearfully made, instead of seeing my light in seeing myself in the light of what people were saying about me, right? So it can just work for somebody here, it might work for you, right? So you might just get to a point where you might just have to start thanking God for those parts of your body that you're not comfortable with and you do not like. It's gonna help you get through easily. You begin to see yourself in a different light, even though you want to work on yourself, but at the same time, you're working on yourself, and you're ensuring that your mental health is not disturbed. You're ensuring that your self perception is not altered, right? You still see yourself as the best person you can be, and at the same time you're still working on your body size to be conformed to the size you want it to be, so which is really 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 like important. So I just had to share that point because I know that it could be of help, to somebody. Now, the next point I want to talk about is prepare for unpleasant compliments and comments, right? The reason why a lot of us struggle with mental issues when it comes to our physical makeup, our stature, and how we look is because we've depended on people's comments so much that we are now so controlled by them, right? But it should not be like that, right? So you have to prepare for people's comments. If you're on the size of being slender, you need to, like I said before, you need to accept yourself, but at the same time you need to prepare yourself for those compliments from your aunties and uncles that constantly give you compliments that do not like, so that they don't meet you unaware, they don't meet you in shock, right? The reason why a lot of people get into depression is because they get compliments they never expected. They get compliments they never, they were never prepared for. Now, I'm not saying that you should begin to expect bad compliments. I'm just saying you should be prepared for them, right? For instance, your auntie that saw you 10 years ago, if she sees you this time around, she's psychologically, or let me say subconsciously, conditioned to want to think you should look the same way you were 10 years ago right now. So if she sees you, it's very possible that she's going to exclaim like, you've added weight, like, you're taller, you're slimmer, that kind of thing. So you just have to be prepared. Don't let comments, either good or bad, meet you unaware, right? Before you leave your room, before you leave your environment to an external environment, or before you show yourself or present yourself to somebody, you should begin to tell yourself good comments. Oh, you look beautiful, your dress is nice. Tell yourself those things, so that when somebody is giving you a bad comment or compliment, what you've said to yourself has been registered in your mind, so it neutralizes what they say. So it prevents stuff like depression, low self-esteem, and all. And I think at this point it will be better for me to also address this issue, and this is particularly to the men, right? The issue of when a woman is pregnant, she's hosting a new life entirely on her inside. So part of the physiological process our body tries to engage in is to increase in weight and in size. So it's always very hurting when you see women come and they're depressed, and you're trying to trace the root to their depression, and you see that it's because their husbands are not accepting them the way they look because they just give birth or after childbirth. So the husband still wants the lady he married before she got pregnant, which is not always easy to come by, because pregnancy naturally changes the size of a woman, and because the woman is more prone to have more fat deposition, she's likely, she has the tendency to increase in fat just to be able to accommodate the baby. So I want to encourage the men here, or not just men, everybody, that you should not judge people based on how they look. There is more to that woman, there's more to that lady, right? You not just marry her because she was sweet 16 or because she had figure eight. There was more to her when you married her. So even when she's not in that shape, you should focus on the more. As much as she wants to try to get back to the shape, you should focus on the more rather than how she currently looks, and help her to get through that journey, enjoy and make it enjoyable, right? So I just have to address that, right? I just have to address that. And let me quickly say this: sometimes it's not that you're adding weight, or let me say, it's not that you're growing fat or growing slender or thin. It just simply means you're growing. Sometimes it is growth and not fat deposition, right? You can't expect your body, your arms, your neck, your face, your stomach, your thighs to look the same way they were when you were like 10 years, like 18 years, like 16 years, right? So the stage of adulthood and the stage of puberty are stages where people grow. So sometimes it's not like you're overgrowing or you feel like you're growing to become fat or too slender. Sometimes it's just growth, right? It's just your genes acting out, expressing themselves. So that's it. Now, to the last point, I want to talk about adopting the spirit, soul, and body concept, and not the body, soul, and spirit. And I'm going to explain. Science, it's not about being a Christian lady now. Even science admits that every human being on earth, thank you so much, Itayo. I see your comments. Every human being on earth is made up of a spirit, a soul, and has a body, right? So you need to understand this, that you're not just the body, you have a spirit and a soul. But what most people do is, and it's a progression, it should be spirit, soul, and body. But a lot of people now begin to define their lives by body, soul, and spirit, right? So your spiritual component is where you connect to God, where you connect to God basically, and to your spirit being, right? So your soul is your mind, your intellect, your mentality, right? Your intelligent emotions, right? It's a seat of your emotions, while your body is the physical part where we can see, and the senses, right? So a lot of people tend to judge themselves by how they look. For instance, so you ask a girl, so who are you? And she says, I'm a fat, tall, short, light lady. Meanwhile, there is more to you, right? So they use that way, because of the way they look, to now begin to let it affect their soul, right? Let it affect their soul, and from there you begin to see that it also affects the body, right? So which is very, very important to note, right? So your spiritual part, which is the God aspect, your spiritual being, should affect your soul, and your soul should define how you perceive your body, not your body defining your soul and your soul defining your spirit, right? So as a Christian, you understand that the scripture says, or God has said about you, that you're wonderfully and fearfully made. So you need to let that sink into you, right? You need to let that sink into you, that you're wonderfully and fearfully made. So when that gets to your mind, you begin to meditate on it, it becomes your reality. And because you now know that regardless of how your body is, you are able to think better of yourself, and even work on yourself better, rather than thinking, oh, you are all bad, right? So those are the things I would love to share with you. And I want to say that you're not as bad as you think. You're wonderful enough, and you were made fearful enough, and you're fitted for that job. So don't let how you look, or the way people say you look,